Is it cool to still be scared of COVID? What is going on, dudes and dudettes? Major Pineapple here, and this quarantine was crazy. Something we haven't seen in over 100 years. It affected the lives of everybody and still affects our lives today. Social distancing, face shields, and hand sanitizers have forever been engraved into our cultural norms, and now I don't see a pre-COVID lifestyle happening anytime soon. But man, oh man, did it give us the perfect time to sit around all day playing video games and bake banana bread. And during quarantine, I beat an embarrassing amount of video games, and that's what I'm going to be talking about today. What games did I kill during quarantine? And I'm going to be breaking these up into 3 different categories: the whole game, most of the game, or the last level. But before that, I want to talk about the games that you don't necessarily beat. They're just high score based video games or stuff that you just play for fun. You know, simple task based games. And don't think I bought all of these games during quarantine. I already had this huge backlog and I had all the time in the world, so why not? The first game I want to talk about is Beat Saber. My girlfriend got her hands on the PlayStation VR, and the first game we got for it was the rhythm-based game, and man, this is so much fun. This is the kind of game you buy VR for. It is just a simple high-score based rhythm game, but it's easy to sink a ton of time into this. With Beat Saber giving us a fun time, we were craving more VR goodness, and as furloughs were rampant in this time, free titles were the way to go, and oh my god, I'm so happy this exists. Spider-Man Far From Home virtual reality experience was my inner 5-year-old's dream and my acrophobic brother's worst nightmare. Trying out all this VR goodness, I decided to pick up the Labo VR, and it is nowhere near as good. Don't get me wrong, it's fun, and being able to have a fully functioning programming suite is immensely impressive to say the least, even though it is a little bit confusing to use, and I never touched that one much, but the little side games they have for it are really fun. If Nintendo wanted to make a true VR experience for Switch 2 or Switch Pro, whatever they call it, they basically have all of my money at this point. I'm interested in the other Labo VR kits, but not enough to pay full price. If I find them in the clearance bin, I might pick them up, but without it, I'm fine either way. But anyway, let's jump into it. Not many games were in the last level bracket. These were just the, okay, I'll kill this from my backlog, and that includes Saints Row the Third, Mortal Kombat 11, and Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Saints Row the Third I kinda beat originally, but not really. I didn't get the right ending, and once I finished it off with the proper ending, because I just had 5 minutes to kill that day, I was glad to beat it. I enjoyed my time with Saints Row the Third so much, I decided to pick up the remastered version on PlayStation 4. This is one of my favorite open world games, and it's such a shame that Saints Row doesn't get much love because it's really an amazing franchise. A franchise that gets a great amount of love, but barely any representation is Donkey Kong Country. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze was fun and painstakingly difficult. I can't even tell you how many times I died, but even so, I still had a ton of fun with this. When you die, it is your fault in the game, which I really like. It tests your skills of platforming in super fun ways, and while it can leave you foaming at the mouth with how annoying it is to die, I still love the game and I'm happy I have it in my collection. The hardest ending though, and honestly the most proud I beat, is Mortal Kombat 11. Kronika was probably the most difficult boss I've ever beaten in my entire life, and I'm ashamed to say that there's a number of games that I haven't beat because the boss is either too hard or someone else beat it for me. But beating Kronika was an experience, and I still remember how pumped I was beating her. Thankfully, no one was home because I was jumping and screaming as if I were at a Motley Crue concert. It was so rewarding, and now I could say that I have a Mortal Kombat final boss under my belt. I still need to beat Shao Kahn from Mortal Kombat 9 though. I remember getting the Spyro Reignited Trilogy about a year ago, and then shortly after getting Astral Chain and completely forgetting about the Purple Dragon, and then remembering him when I was desperate to play games during quarantine, and oh boy, I love this. The Spyro Trilogy is a classic collectathon that I had so much fun with. The first one was really fun and interesting. Ripto's Revenge cranked everything that I loved about the first to 11, and then Year of the Dragon was everything I didn't like about the series. But Robot Farms is still one of my favorite game worlds ever. If you played something like Mario 64, you should feel right at home here. It's definitely at a higher pace and felt like a good way to combat Nintendo, so it's really strange seeing it on a Nintendo handheld. Of course, it started off as a Sony exclusive just like Crash Bandicoot, which, to be honest, I wasn't a fan of. I'm sorry, I'll pick it up at another time, but I already have so much in my backlog already again. Spyro is really fun, energetic, responsive, and full of charm. Each level and world is so distinct from one another, and Ripto's Revenge is probably my favorite platformer ever. A platformer I loved as a kid though, and slowly started to grow more disdain for it the more I played it, was Star Wars Bounty Hunter. Starring Jango Fett, my favorite Star Wars character when I was a kid. Of course I played it when I found out about this and never beat it. And when it released on PSN, you bet I downloaded it and beat it 4 years later. The levels just droll on, and the camera's almost as bad, if not worse, than the camera in Super Mario 64. That's the second time I've referenced Super Mario 64. And this really released nearly 10 years after. But underneath it all, I still have a ton of nostalgia for this game. Hopefully they'll be able to bring the series back with EA, but instead of using Fett, use Mando or something. But make it more like Call of Juarez Gunslinger. That actually has a total Mandalorian vibe that I love. Probably the game that shocked me the most was God of War. Unfortunately, I never played the original games, so this is my first romp in the franchise, and all I have to say is, wow. God of War is something truly special and easily the most gorgeous game on PS4. The combat feels powerful, the bond between Kratos and Atreus is intense, and the world is something you could easily get lost in. I never played any of the side quests, unfortunately, because, my god, but I had a blast with this game. This is the game that truly makes you feel like a badass unlike any other. While God of War is a game on a grand scale, The Last of Us takes more of a small scale approach. I'm so happy I waited until quarantine to beat The Last of Us. It made the game feel more intense as a viral illness was right outside our doorsteps. While this isn't my favorite game by a long shot, it still set an atmosphere and characters that are instantly iconic and unforgettable. Another iconic and unforgettable PlayStation exclusive is Uncharted. A Thief's End was free on PlayStation Plus, and Sony gave away the Nathan Drake collection for free so people would stay inside, and I beat all these games in the span of a week. They're easy and quick to beat, don't judge me. My favorites were Drake's Fortune and A Thief's End. Among Thieves and Drake's Deceptions were good, but I felt like they were just padding down the runtime by making the end stupid difficult for legit no reason. Like seriously, the first 80% of 2 and 3 are a breeze, and the last 20% feels like the devil corrupted your save file. I could definitely see that being a plot point in a future Uncharted game. These games have super fun exploration, great character dynamics, and a parkour system that makes you think, God, Assassin's Creed did this so much better. And even though I already beat it when it launched back in 2013, I decided to replay Black Flag on my Switch because I hadn't played it in years and I didn't have an excuse not to, and man, I forgot how awesome this game is. I remember hating naval combat in 2012 when it was introduced in Assassin's Creed 3 and completely ignoring it in Black Flag, but Rogue made it really fun and made me want even more from Assassin's Creed 4. While the plot's just a normal Assassin's Creed plot, Edward Kenway is one of the best protagonists this game has ever seen to this day, and has the best arc next to Ezio. I remember playing Bloodlines on my PSP not 10 years ago. Now I'm playing Black Flag, a launch title for the PS4, on a handheld. That is crazy to me. I love handheld gaming and I don't really know why, and it's absolute perfection on the Switch. Swapping between portable and docked is something I've fantasized for like 10 years now, and I'm so happy it exists. It was kind of cool on PS4 and Vita, and the Wii U almost had it, but it's nowhere near as perfect and seamless as it is on Switch. Where the Wii U arguably peaked though was Mario Maker, and Super Mario Maker 2 was the first game I bought during quarantine, and even though I haven't played much of it, I still had a ton of fun nonetheless. All I really played was just rebuilding Peach's castle. I made my own level and tried some of the other user-created levels for a bit. I know Nintendo is done updating this game, so maybe a sequel could be in the works, and one that I think would be really fun is a Super Mario Maker 3D. How sick would this be? You can make them in the style of 64, third time, Sunshine, Galaxy, or 3D Land and World. I don't know, it's just an idea. Of all these games, my favorite that I went through during quarantine is Saints Row 4 Re-Elected. This game is buckets of fun, and I love being able to traverse the city with super speed, super jump, gliding, and wall run. This totally reminds me of Prototype, and it makes me so happy. And the over-the-top quirky story leaves such a great impression on you that makes it hard to forget. The villain is fantastic, the throwbacks, while fun, don't feel forced in there, which is great because I've never played 1 or 2, and the utter charm and humor that Saints Row 4 brings to the table made it hard to not love. Saints Row 4 is the game that my inner middle schooler absolutely adores. And while I feel like I should say I should have picked up Animal Crossing over Saints Row 4, I'm kinda happy I didn't. Don't get me wrong, Animal Crossing New Horizons is a phenomenal experience, one of my favorite of this generation, and I've definitely clocked more hours into Animal Crossing than Saints Row 4. I just feel like I have more fond memories with Saints Row 4. But anyway, dudes and dudettes, I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to click that like and subscribe button, and let me know down in the comment section below, what games did you play during quarantine? What was your favorite game during quarantine? And what recipes did you do? I know me personally, I did a ton of banana bread, I did a cinnamon roll poke cake, and they're all delicious. And dudes and dudettes, new videos every Wednesday except for the first Wednesday of the month. Major Pineapple out.